Welcome back to another Anime and Beyond review. I'm Devin.
I'm Noah.
And today we're going to be reviewing again a series of Stranger Things. This is episode 5. So with that said, we'll get right into it. The first biggest scene that we saw, Nancy and Jonathan were at the hospital and they're looking for Miss Driscoll? Miss Driscoll. And they couldn't find her there and they were wondering what was going on. And we see,
people at the newspaper company.
Yeah, they were both there, but they weren't them. They were overtaken by the Mind Flayer. They were flayed.
Yeah.
And so we see them kind of escaping that whole scene, them fighting, and
that was an intense scene.
That was an intense scene.
Yeah.
Did not expect them to be so dramatic not dramatic, but so much action with like throwing Nancy and Jonathan and like all that stuff. I didn't expect all that, but I'm glad they did that. To me, it really added more of like a seriousness. Like, you know how I understand like the enemy in a previous series where it's like a threat, like a huge big deal, but now it's like almost like this is a really huge, like a bigger threat, none that they've never faced before. So. I kind of got that feel, like they're in for it.
And the way that they were attacking Nancy and Jonathan, those two guys, it just seemed more of like a revenge type of attack. It like when Jonathan's trying to pull himself up and he's pushing on the stool and the guy kicks it out, like that's just messed up.
Yeah.
Like they're taking their time to stab and to just torture him.
Yeah.
After being kind of stupid and running around and locking themselves in rooms, like instead of just continuing to run, Nancy finally got something to attack, and then Jonathan tried to get something to attack as well.
I'll say this: what made me kind of upset was the fact that they kept going to the doors. Just run, go downstairs. I'm like, just run away from them. They kept going in doors.
They're giving themselves one escape, or there's the one escape is the same entrance. It's like you're locking yourself in. You're putting yourself in a.
Like I know it's a show. I know it's a show, but it's like really. I would not. If that were me, I would have ran. I would have ran. If anything, I mean, if they weren't close to me, I would have ran. But if they were close to me, I would have probably attacked.
And those guys were walking slow. They weren't running after them. They were walking. So it's like almost any horror movie where the villain's going slow, and then you're running and stumbling, and can't get away.
Yeah, I had a theory about this because Noah was saying that they essentially killed him. They killed both the newspaper people.
Yeah.
But I had a theory that maybe they could be copies because we see Billy when he was in the Upside Down. There was two of them. There was the like Upside Down version, and there was the other Billy, and the Mind Flayer version of Billy was saying, "I want you to build me this, yada yada yada." So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's copies. Maybe I don't know. It's kind of a theory.
I'm sure they hope so, because otherwise they're not murderers because the guys were attacking them.
That's true.
That means they would have killed someone.
Yeah.
So after both the two guys are taken out and killed, they turn into jelly just like the rats. But then the rats, we saw them kind of like moving around as jelly. But with these two guys, they come and they morph together and form...
That was
just
nasty.
another one of those monsters. It's
that was
really
nasty.
disgusting.
That was really disgusting.
So they end the episode. I was eating breakfast when I saw that.
And they just stood there again, and I'm like.
But you did mention, to be fair, when you were like, I don't know what I would do if I saw that gunk moving on the floor.
That's true, but I want to stand there. I'd probably get out of there.
They followed it, and as they're working together,
if I see something for me, I'm not gonna stand there.
You think you'd realize by that point, like, oh. I should probably run.
Have a cup of tea with that and just like wait and I want to see what it does. I gotta do that.
Going back a little bit in the episode, Nancy calls Jonathan and lets him know that Mrs. Driscoll, she looked just like Will. So she's asking if Will's okay because it looks like that Mind Flayer thing is in someone else. And so they meet up with Will and Mike and the rest of the gang, and they kind of start sharing information on what they have, which takes them to Heather's house. And they're looking around there and they see that someone was attacked there, someone was tied up. They're doing their investigating. And these things are eating chemicals. They're eating, Miss Driscoll ate fertilizer, the rats were eating fertilizer.
Yeah.
They're eating chemicals.
And Will mentions that it's different than last time. Will was like, they didn't I mean, I when I was possessed with, this is me acting as Will. He said when I was possessed, I didn't eat chemicals, so this is different. Kind of like what I was saying, like before, it's like a unprecedented enemy. Maybe like they said, maybe if they're trying to multiply or trying to, they were talking about something with chemicals and then
create a new something.
Yeah, because create a new substance. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
Maybe I don't know what the deal is. Maybe he needs the bot. I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird. I'm glad. I would hate to see someone drinking chemicals. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's Tide Pods 2.0.
Yeah, that was. So Hopper and Joyce find the place where their activity, magnetism, was happening, and they look around this house, and they find that underneath the house there's this lair or this laboratory, and they go down there. They see some of the Germans there. They go down there and they see some of the Russians there, and they look like they're working on something. And he's like, "Hey, get down or stay still. Say where you are." And they don't speak a lick of English. And then they hear the guy who was after them before coming after him, and so they get in a scuffle. And
Hopper gets a few swings in this time.
Yeah, he gets a few swings.
But he still gets caught.
But what got me was when she threw the gun.
Hopper!
I was like, come on. I was like, really?
Oh.
I was like, she literally almost got them killed. And I was like, oh gosh.
That was funny. Yeah. That was funny.
And then the driving.
Yeah, Hopper screaming. Anytime Hopper's screaming is actually pretty funny. He's like, "Joyce, drive!" And she's struggling.
Dude, I was with you.
She dropped the keys.
Yeah. There was so many things. I was like, this is cringy. I was like, why? I was like, Hopper, why don't you just drive? Why don't you?
He was handcuffed.
He was?
He handcuffed himself to Alex.
Oh.
I think he did. I think he handcuffed himself to the scientist.
But okay. Yeah. I'll give her that. But still.
Yeah. Then they drive. The car eventually breaks down. Then they blow it up because I don't know what they did. I don't know what he did wrong. Hopper did something wrong.
Yeah, and the Russian was trying to stop him. Mm-hmm. They call him Smirnoff.
Yeah.
And
like his name's like Alexei or Alexa or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so they stole a car and they go to Murray's house, and Murray's asking him all these questions and stuff. I mean, he asked them to identify themselves and all that. Eventually, he lets them in, and then Joyce and him basically start arguing, and because Joyce is talking about how she had a long day, she's been shot at, she's been walking miles and all sorts of stuff. Meanwhile, we see Dustin and Steve Harrington and the gang. They're still falling from the elevator, and they finally get down, but they notice that people are coming, so they hide. And then at the last second, when the door is about to close, they use that little green acid thing, and they stop the door and get out. But they realize that they have to walk a long ways because it's not meant to necessarily walk.
Yeah.
So, so they get to the place where they're almost at the comms, and they start thinking of strategies, and that's when they talk about how this could be related to the Mind Flayer, or so to speak, right?
Yeah, because Robin mentioned something about, like, they're talking about, like, what if they're using this acid stuff for energy or for this? Like, why would they come out here to Hawkins for that? There's no reason. And then, Steve and Dustin stop and we're like, well, there is a reason, if they're trying to open up the gate or something.
Yeah.
They're talking about if it's related. And then they hear a Russian on the comm, and they realize they're in range, and so they move closer to the center to go
to the comms room.
Yeah, so that way they can get a message out.
Which it was interesting because I was wondering how they. I mean, I know the show, but I was wondering how did they get past all of them? But seeing.
Yeah, that was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, if you're down there, you're probably not too worried.
Yeah.
Like they showed guards walking around with their guns, like looking around. But if I was working down underground, like hundreds of feet underground, I probably wouldn't be too concerned that someone else is sneaking in. I'd be more concerned that someone's not doing their job.
Yeah, but they eventually They mentioned make it to the comms room.
Yeah.
Make it to the comms room, and Steve gets his first win. Apparently, his first fight.
That was funny.
Wins his first fight.
In a previous episode, Dustin was saying, have you ever won a fight? You know, you lost to Jonathan, you lost to Billy, blah, blah, blah. And Steve's like, no, yeah, I've won. But after he won this fight against the Russian soldier and Dustin's like congratulating him, you see a little smirk on his face, and it's kind of like, yeah, like, he's finally winning one. And we haven't seen a win from him in the last couple.
And after that, they go into the room where what you talked about, how they were talking about the Mind Flayer and everything.
Oh, they're drilling.
When they're
like
drilling,
trying to drill a hole.
they actually see it.
Yeah, and you see the gate, it's opening up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, let us know your thoughts, your theories, and whether you like this episode or not. With that said, I'm Devin.
I'm Noah.
See you next time.
Peace.